One, as time winds down in a game of a lot to decipher in this one. You had an incredibly impressive performance day out of Aaron Rodgers, no doubt about that. The tight ends get involved today as well. The defense, numerous turnovers, only they collected a couple of them, but punching the ball out pretty consistently, being in the right place at the right time, only giving up 10 points on the day. Now, had Heineke not tried to take the nosedive into the end zone, it could have been a different ball game. Because for whatever reason, I don't know why he went down to begin with. He could have trotted in, maybe been shoved a little bit, but they weren't going to hit him once he crossed the goal line. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. So he gave the Packers defense a gift in giving them their first red zone stop after 15 tries all season long. But 24-10 with 1:58 to go in the contest. That's where we sit right now as the Packers look to finish off the Washington football team. Packers, like I said, are going to go to 6-1. Washington are going to go to 2-5 on the season. And then the Packers with a short week and a short turnaround. They are then going to head off to Arizona, where they're going to have to face an undefeated Arizona Cardinals team, unless, of course, the Texans win this afternoon and beat Arizona, which I can't imagine that happening. It looked like early on in this game, like the Packers were taking Washington a little lightly. Like maybe they were looking past and more towards Arizona, but then the Packers rallied, and then obviously the offense got clicking and off they went. But Aaron Rodgers so far today, 27 of 35, 274 yards. We said he'd probably throw for three touchdowns against this secondary. And sure enough, he did. Devontae Adams, Alan Lazard, and Robert Tonyan all getting into the mix today. And a quarterback rating of 127.6. Taylor Heineke, 22 of 32 as the Tide continues to move forward. And 234 yards, a touchdown, and a Shandon Sullivan interception. 87.2 quarterback rating on the day. Meanwhile, the run game today, if you want to have a concern, the run game today for the Packers, non-existent. Aaron Jones, 6 carries, 19 yards. Aaron Rodgers with a couple of carries for 17 yards. Then you had Equanimeous St. Brown with the end around for 13, picked up a first down. A.J. Dillon, 3 carries, 6 yards, nowhere. And Kylan Hill, 3 carries, 2 yards, nowhere. Devontae Adams targeted 7 times, 6 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Tonyan, 5 targets, 4 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown. And you got Alan Lazard, 5 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. Randall Cobb targeted 4 times, 3 catches, 22 yards. So statistically speaking, not a bad day. They spread the ball around. They couldn't run the football. Their offensive line seemed to be somewhat overwhelmed today, giving up numerous pressures on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers sacked today, I think I counted 3 times, and pressured a bunch, knocked down more than a few times today as well. And when you look at it, Washington, 22 first downs to only 19 of the Packers. They were 4 of 10 on third down. Not bad. Not bad for the Packers defense. Only 40%. So that's not awful. Packers 6 of 12, 50%. That's fantastic. But Washington, as of right now, has racked up 10 yards shy of 400 total yards, going up and down the field, but not being able to punch it into the end zone consistently. And they have run, still counting, but 64 to 53 offensive plays, averaging over 6 yards a play. And they've been able to run the ball, throw the ball, but they just haven't been able to do it consistently downfield enough to get themselves into the end zone. The 2 turnovers hurt them today, big time, while the Packers and A.J. Dillon turned the ball over 1 time today. So that's the way things kind of stand. The Packers look to be getting the win 24-10. You may get some garbage points out of Washington before it's all said and done, but for the most part, this one is all but over. And as Taylor Heineke now goes down yet again as Dean Lowry gets to him. So, and Dean Lowry, a solid day today, by the way. Dean Lowry, that is, I believe it's his 2nd sack of the day. Rashawn Gary, he was in on a couple of them, and Rashawn Gary had 3 pressures today too. Rashawn Gary starting to show up. The fact that Devondre Campbell, who, even though he did give up that pass over the middle for a big gain, he is still unbelievably solid. 10 tackles, 3 assists, 13 total tackles today. Like I said, Rashawn Gary, 7 total tackles. Kingsley Kiki getting into the mix with a sack and a half today. So a good day all around for the Packers front. For D, early on, they weren't getting any pressure. They were running 3-man down linemen, 4-man down linemen, 3-man down linemen, and outside rusher. They were bringing 4. They were stunting 5. And the only time they blitzed, they gave up a touchdown. It just seemed like whatever they were going to do, they couldn't do it and do it right. And then they settled down. And once they settled down, they seemed to get it right. And so not a bad day at the office for the Green Bay Packers. If you want to chime in, 877-867-1670. Again, 877-867-1670. Really, if you want to talk about the play of the game, more so the play of the game that wasn't, was the touchdown that wasn't by Taylor Heineke as he was going into the end zone. And for whatever reason, decided to go down. I don't know why, but he did. And he dropped his knee on the half-yard line, and that was it. He dropped his knee on the half-yard line. They never were able to punch it in. And, obviously what happened after that is history, and the Packers defense finally gets a stop, and he was not able to get in, or even his momentum got stymied at the line of scrimmage. After he fumbled the football, he was already ruled forward progress was stopped. Therefore, when he regained possession, even though he had not technically touched the ground, he had nowhere to go. So just merely reaching the ball out was not going to give him the score, at least ruled by the officials. And that was the right call because he had already been stopped. You normally would blow the whistle in that point anyway. It's just he dropped the football. And you let the play roll out. But his forward progress was stopped. It was the right call. Technically, it was the right call. There was a couple of those calls today. Technically, he put his knee down, and the ball was on the half-yard line. So they had a couple of them today. And the punt, I didn't get a chance to see the review of the punt. But that being said, the punt that Bojorquez put right on the goal line, which was an amazing punt. Bojorquez today with a couple of big bangers. That one deep in their own end zone. When they needed it most, Bojorquez, he drilled one 53 yards. Drilled it 53 yards. And, when you really want to talk about special teams, still the Achilles heel. They get a pressure again on both the punt and the field goal. And both times pressure comes from the right. Both times Bojorquez barely gets the punt off. Then they had a field goal block today. Special teams continues to be problematic, specifically from that right side. Specifically from the right side. It just continues to come. So it's just not a great day today for the special teams unit. But nevertheless, as time winds down, the Packers complete the victory. 24-10, the final. 24-10, the final. Give us a shout. 24-10, the final. That was it. Packers get a win. They go to 6-1 on the season. You got a couple of games that were close. 27-28, the Atlanta Falcons, they get a win. A game that I am somewhat shocked by over in the AFC, the big game in the AFC, 41-17. Cincinnati goes on the road in Baltimore. They ended up pulling LeVar Jackson out of that game as he was just ineffective. He could run the football, but that's all he could do. 41-17, Cincinnati getting the win to go to 5-2. They are now tied atop the division with Baltimore in the AFC North, but because of the head-to-head, they now own the top spot. So that was somewhat of a shocker today. Everything else relatively playing out the way we thought it would. New England over the Jets, albeit New England drilled the Jets 54-13. You got the Rams and Detroit, that game just getting underway out in Los Angeles. Cleveland, as we all know, the other night got a 3-point win, 17-14 over Denver. The Giants beat Carolina 25-3. Carolina has been nothing since Christian McCaffrey went down. And Tennessee getting the win. And I thought Tennessee would get the win. I didn't think by this kind of a margin. And, oh, by the way, Patrick Mahomes leaves the game for Kansas City. 27-3 the final. Patrick Mahomes goes down with yet another injury, or an injury, I should say, in that game. And it did not look good. 20 of 35, 206 yards. Another pick for Patrick Mahomes, 62.3 quarterback rating. Gets outdueled by Ryan Tannehill, 21 of 27, 270 yards, a touchdown, an interception, and a quarterback rating of 105.2. So if you want to chime in, we are looking for your reaction. Packers get the win. They move to 6-1. How good is this team? How good is this team? Are they because look, I'm getting again during the game today, I'm getting this defense sucks. Joe Barry sucks. And I said, look, and the comment was this defense hasn't been good since 2010, 2011 championship. And granted, they haven't been that good, but they've been getting steadily better. They're missing 4 starters, Jair, Kevin King, Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith. All 4 of those guys are out. Darnell Savage is coming back from injury. You bring in Jalen Smith. You bring in Merciless. You've rotated. Kenny Clark goes down during the game with an ankle injury, only to return later. He's been ailing. You've got numerous guys that are banged up. They've gotten better. And today, again, they only give up 10 points. Now, we'll see because they have a monumental task at hand in trying to slow down and or stop Arizona and that high-powered offense and what they have in Kyler Murray and what they have in that three-headed monster when it comes to the receiving core. Because that receiving core with A.J. Green, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, as a solid slot guy. Rondell Moore is a second-round draft choice this year. Antoine Wesley, Andy Isabella. I mean, they're solid. Then they pick up the tight end Zach Ertz from Philadelphia last week. Chase Edmonds, James Conner coming out of the backfield running the football. That is a loaded offense. The Packers are going to have their hands full and then some coming up this coming Thursday night. But this is a good win. Because you did exactly what you're supposed to do. Go in, get the win, get out of there as healthy as possible, call it a day, and move on. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Hit us up, 877-867-1670. Craig says defense seems to get better as the game goes on. They just look asleep at the start of the game. I agreed with you. I said in the opening, I don't know if you were listening or just tuning us in now, and thanks to everybody that's tuning in on the Bud Light live stream right here, right now. But the beginning of the game, it looked like this team, I thought, oh my goodness, this team looks like they're just kind of sleepwalking through things, and they look like they've overlooked Washington, and they're now starting to think about Arizona. And then they settled in. Then it became a game. Rashawn Gary today, you're right, putting some good pressure on the quarterback, looped on the inside on the INT. He's a guy that's giving you a bull rush. Merciless gives you a bull rush. There's quite a few guys, man. Quite a few. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. People arguing over officiating calls. Look, let's just say the punt was into the end zone. Okay, comes out to the 20. Who cares? People arguing over it. Who cares? Didn't matter. Didn't have an effect on the game. Doesn't matter. The call in the end zone was correct on Heineke for dropping the knee down. He did not break the plane, and his forward progress was stopped, which was what was the call on the field. The pass interference on Devontae Adams, he grabbed it around his neck. It was obvious. Anytime you grab a jersey, anytime you wrap your arm around a guy and you grab them to adjust their ability to catch the football or their movement, it's a penalty. Whether you think it's ticky-tack or not, it is what it is. So the officials didn't have any judgment in this game to a mass satisfaction. If Heineke doesn't go down, if he runs the ball into the end zone, or better yet, sticks the ball out and dives into the end zone, it's a touchdown. Because once it breaks the plane, then it doesn't matter. It can roll out of his hands. It can go up into a beer vendor. It doesn't matter. He chose to go down. It's a shame because all he's ever wanted to do was score a touchdown and do a Lambeau leap, which was somewhat hollow after the fact. He did get to do it. He did get a chance to score a touchdown, but it was hollow because he went down prior to going into the end zone. That's on him, man. Nobody else. Steve says, finally, we stopped somebody in the red zone today. I agree. Now you get that mental, burden, that hump off of your back. You get that off of your back. Derek says if this team is going to make it through tougher opponents, this offense has to return to what it was last year eventually. They still don't look smooth to me. They don't look smooth, but the best, there was a comment by Howie Long at halftime, and I thought it was absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. I'll tell you what it is when we come back. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. But start lighting the lines. Get your phone calls in here. Your reaction to today's W. Packers get a win. They go to 6-1 on the season. Give me a shout. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. We'll hit you up and start taking your phone calls, your reaction right after this.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah.
Packers get a win. They knock off Washington 24-10. Packers go to 6-1 on the season. Washington falls to 2-5 on the season. Packers now have a destination in the desert as they're getting ready to take on the Cardinals on a short turnaround coming up on Thursday night. The Texans take on the Cardinals coming up here in about 5 minutes. They'll get that game underway also out in the desert. But in the meantime, the Packers defensively, they got a couple of stops, as a matter of fact, in the red zone. Even though one of those stops were self-inflicted by Washington and Taylor Heineke. But you take it. You know what? Some team wants to make a mistake. You capitalize on it. You beat them. You go. You move forward. So it is what it is. 877-867-1670. Let's get to the phone calls. Let's go to Joe. Joe, welcome to the Green and Gold postgame show, man. What's up?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it as
You bet.
always. I'm with you. I'm just, you take it. They got, they're in the position to make those stops in the red zone, which are huge. Obviously, they've been struggling in the red zone. So that's a good thing. To build off of. But Bill, I can't, watching this team today, I can't on them. Or watch them, and it's like they're getting gashed up and down the field almost, and they're getting beat up in the trenches. But then you look at the score, and they're winning by 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
It's odd. And this team really does remind me a lot of the 2010 team. Just a few injuries at some spots, and peak later at the right time and everything. But overall, I thought the defense played solid today, considering. I think there's still a lot of things they got to clean up. It was good to see Merciless get some pressures when he did, and Gary, he looks pretty good on the defense side of the ball. I think Stokes is playing really good football. Shannon played awesome today. He had a great game. Really good game. Dylan did not have a good game on the offensive side. I just don't think they've hit their stride yet, their groove yet, if that makes sense. And when they do, watch out, because I think they will be the best team in the NFL when they hit their stride. But big test coming up with Arizona, and oddly, I have a good gut feeling about that game. I don't think Green Bay is going to go there and just get blown out. They're going to give Zona a lot, and it would not surprise me one bit if Green Bay gets that W on Thursday night, which would be huge. And then you have a mini bye after that. After the long week, what have you. That would be great to get that W. But looking at their schedule, though, Bill, Arizona's really the only team that worries me. Nobody else really worries me. Kansas City, sure, maybe, but I don't know. Baltimore,
LA, the Rams,
do, but Baltimore, what Cincinnati's putting up? How many points is Cincinnati?
They put 41 on them today.
Yeah. So I think the Rams, Arizona, and the Ravens. Other than that, though, no game really worries me. So I just think this team this is a very good team, and they're only going to get better. And once they do hit their stride, I think they're going to be really, really, really good. You just hope no major injuries.
Well, that's just it. I think it's when they hit their stride is when they get their guys back. When you get Jair back, when you get Kevin King, if you get Zedarius, which I don't think you will, but Preston. And I like what Merciless brought to the table today. He had a couple of pressures today. One was a move, the other one was a bull rush. So he got it done in 2 different facets. So I was happy with the way they played. Is there room for improvement? Huge, absolutely. And the other thing they better shore up is special teams, because special teams, other than Bojorquez and his punts, the special teams look bad again today.
Oh, they did. Oh gosh. And every time, Bill, every kickoff, I am holding my breath. I'm like, oh no. They're just, and I don't know why. It just feels like every single time they kick off, I am just like, okay, please, no, do not take this, do not run this back.
Right.
But yeah, and Bach, Bakhtiari is going to be coming back too.
Yeah,
that's just a massive.
He'll either be back on Thursday or a week from Sunday, one of the two.
Yeah, and that's huge.
Yeah.
That's going to be massive for this offensive line, because I don't think Jenkins is still 100% healthy right now. He doesn't look like his normal self after his coming back from that ankle injury. But I think once he needs to be in the interior, he needs to go back to guard when Bach comes back. I just think that's going to make be huge for this offense moving forward.
Yeah.
But thanks for taking my call as always, man. And,
I appreciate it, buddy.
Thursday night should be interesting.
It'll be a lot of fun. We'll be here after the fact, too. Good stuff. And that's our buddy Joe giving us a shout. You can, too. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Hit us up over on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. You can find us over on the Facebook fan page. Go to Facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. And hit us up on the Bud Light live stream. It's the Green and Gold postgame show presented by Bud Light. And you can find your way to us over there as well. Drew says, is Mason Crosby hurt? He just doesn't look right. No, he's not hurt. I mean, not that we know of. He hasn't been listed in any of the injury reports. But no, I think that it's a couple of things. I think if you heard Mike Clemens here about a week and a half ago was talking about the process when it comes to field goals, the process, the snap, the spin rate, getting the ball down, getting the threads straight. Bojorquez being somewhat new to that for holding for Mason Crosby. I don't think it's Crosby. I think it's the process. And I think, quite frankly, I'll say the right side of that offensive line or that special teams line stinks. They just haven't figured it out. Speed is killing them. Speed is just flat out killing them. The quickness to be able to get up and get a good chip block out there is killing them. And we finally saw it come to fruition today. Finally saw it happen today. 877-867-1670. Jim says, what do you think of the win with Davante Adams today? He is looking smooth. Well, Davante always looks smooth, okay? I don't think it's anything that's beyond standout for Davante. As a matter of fact, he had pedestrian numbers today. 7 targets, 6 catches. What do you average? 12 and a half, I think, something like this. 76 yards total today, a touchdown, a 26-yard reception downfield. But everybody got it into the mix. 6 catches for Davante, 5 catches for a whole series for Adam Lazard. 5 catches, 60 yards, and got a touchdown on the drive. Aaron Jones, 5 catches. Tanyan, 4 catches and a touchdown today for 63 yards. Mercedes Lewis, 3 catches, 31 yards today. Randall Cobb, 3 catches, 22 yards. A.J. Dillon, a catch out of the backfield. I mean, they got in numerous guys got catches today, 27 in total. And normally it's just Davante and everybody else. Today it was spread out because teams are now focusing solely on Davante, taking him out of the mix, and the Packers are figuring out other ways to get it done. What's more alarming than anything over the last 2 games has been, one, a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers, whether it's pressures of 9 last week, and I think 9 again this week, if I counted correctly. And then in addition to that, the inability to consistently run the football. And like I mentioned earlier, Aaron Jones, 6 carries, 19 yards. That's not much. That's not much. But when Aaron Rodgers was just kind of guiding things today, what the comment that was made by Howie Long at halftime, I thought was brilliant. And I've said this for a while. Because to me, Aaron Rodgers is almost like he's walking up in the Matrix, where he's just he's going through all the numbers in his head, and boom, he gets it, he locks in, he's good to go. But Howie Long said when Aaron Rodgers steps to the line of scrimmage, he's the kid in school who has all the answers to the test. He already knows it. It's just a matter of whether or not the guys around him are able to execute. Because today it was pressure, it was pass rush, it was stymieing a run, it was missing a block, it was missing a pickup. It was just little glitches here and there and that's a very good defensive front, by the way, that gave that good defensive front opportunity to harass Aaron Rodgers. But when he sees it, he sees it. He's just locked in. He just is. Jason says, as much as Rodgers and Tay connect, they really did spread the ball around today. So nice to see everybody get involved. And you're right. You're right. 877-867-1670. Let's do this right now. For those of you listening, here we go. Up to Lambeau Field, into the atrium, into the podium. Rashawn Gary talking to the media. Listen.
Rashawn, can you take us through the quarterback sneak at the goal line and just what you saw and how it developed from your eyes?
Like when you're in goal line situations, as us as a defense, we know what's about to come. You know, what was it? what was it, 1 yard to go, not even an inch. So, you see QB underneath center. We all was playing QB sneak. So, that was just the mindset, man, just making sure you don't cross there, And our mindset this week was, as a defense, was just to get better in the red zone. So I feel like we done that today, step by step and series by series.
What was different down there in the red zone today, do you think, on your guys' end?
Just locked in, concentrated, understanding things that they like to do in the red zone and just trying to, take it away from them. And us up front, just, trying to make it hard on the O-line and the quarterback, the running backs, have them feel us all throughout the game. And like I said, series by series, we got better throughout the whole game.
How sick and tired were you of hearing about how your defense didn't have a red zone stop before today?
Say that again?
How sick and tired were you guys about hearing about how you didn't have a red zone stop before today?
Oh, people were saying that? Oh, I didn't know that, but we just know our standard and we know what we expect. We not listening to no outside noise. We understand what we have in this building, and we're chipping away day by day, man.
You've been able to create a lot of pressure this season, but not a ton of sacks. How gratifying were today's results?
Say that again?
So you've been able to create a lot of pressure, but not a ton of sacks. How gratifying were today's results to actually get the quarterback to the ground?
Just chipping away, man. Just taking it day by day, not looking too far ahead, just trying to stay in the moment and just making sure I get the most out of every moment. And that's from practice and, my studying outside and just taking it day by day and just keep doing what I'm doing.
What did you feel like your defense proved today?
Prove. We just, we not out here to prove nothing. We just out here trying to put together our best game. And that's what we're doing. We about to go into week 8. I'm right? Week 8? Okay. So we about to go into week 8, and we just chipping away, getting better. So
you're also about to go in and play a quarterback that's probably a lot more dynamic than any that you've seen in Kyler Murray. Is what you got now good enough against that guy?
What do you mean what we got now?
Like the way you guys are playing on defense, is that going to be good enough?
Like I said, man, we have yet to play our best game. So I go each day and, every game day is to put together our best game. And we won't know how that is until we, play on Sunday.
Rashawn, you've used the phrase locked in a few times, but after like a 5 to 6 minute review on that fumble recovery on the second time you stopped them on 4th down, how tough is it to stay locked in there, and how'd you guys kind of come together for that second 4th down?
Oh, man, it's not tough at all. We understand, as a defense and as a unit, what we expect from one another. And that's just tighten down and play our ball. We know if everybody play their technique and play how they're supposed to play, it's going to be a good game. So just holding ourselves to that standard.
How did your defense get from where you were after week 1, giving up 38 points, to where you are now, I think giving up less than 20 a game over the last 6?
Just keeping our head down and chipping away and understanding our standard and what we have as a defensive unit.
As a team, how do you feel you are playing right now, just the team in general, heading into this 2 games?
We still got room to improve. We're not a finished piece. And like I said, day by day and week by week, we're chipping away to become that perfect piece.
What did you see out of Whitney Merciless today, and what can you bring to your team moving forward?
Man, he's a dog. Off rip, it's just knowledge of the game and what he sees. And, just he a smooth guy, man. He walk around, you see the energy, and just him having that experience. The experience is number one, man. Just, coming off, sometimes he's like, he's giving me this. And I go and he's the tackle, he's giving me the same thing. So already, we going back and forth, just communicating. So, just having that experience and just, a guy just willing to share his information, been great.
Rashawn, Kenny said that you guys call Dean Lowry the Rhino. What can you say? What can you say about this play today and just over the past couple games?
That's Dean being Dean, man. That's what we expect from him. And the past couple of weeks he's been playing his butt off. So, I'm just happy, for his stats and, what he's doing and for his success. So, Big Dean, if you're looking and you're listening, keep doing what you're doing, my guy.
There you go. That is Rashawn Gary at the podium. Big Dean! Dean Lowry showed up today in a big way. Good to see him playing better football, too. He needs to. After the season he had last year, he needs to start showing up more consistently. Let's do this. We're going to step away. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. A lot more of the Green and Gold postgame show. Want to get your reaction. Light the phone lines. Packers going to win their 6-1. Are they a 6-1 team that is considered one of the best in the NFL, or are they playing a little bit above their heads? Maybe their record's a little bit better than what they are? Or do you think, this team had a fluke loss in week 1. They should be undefeated. And now they're going into the Den where they're going to make their statement out in the desert in Arizona against what is considered, as at least as of right now, the best team in the National Football League. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. It's the Green and Gold postgame show. I'm Bill Michaels. More to come.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. We are basking in the global win. Packers get a win today, and their 6th win of the season. They knocked off the Washington football team, and rightfully so. Look, we figured they would get a win before it was all said and done anyway, so wasn't overwhelmingly concerned with it. But the fact that they did get the win, that the fact that they did take care of business, their defense, albeit on the first red zone stop, did not look great. Looked much better on the second. So you take it, you move on. Look, years and years ago, doing the Green and Gold postgame show, Irv Favre told me at one point, he said, look, I don't care if you win by 40 or win by 1 on a last second kneel down fumble. You take it. It's a W, because every win you stack up, that'll put you in the postseason. And the more wins you get, the more likely it is you're going to be at home come the postseason, and you'll be able to do some better things at home. So I'll take it. Take it in a heartbeat. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Let's see here. Brad B-Rad says, you beat a team with no name, 1 or maybe 2 possible Pro Bowlers. Hooray. You take the win. It wasn't like you beat them by a point, Brad. You take the win. You take the win. Okay, they beat Chicago. They beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati just beat the hell out of what everybody seems to be one of the top 2 teams in the AFC, and the Baltimore Ravens. So did you call up here and give them credit for that, B-Rad? No, you didn't. You didn't. So you get ugly wins, you get good wins. Sometimes you get beat by a bad team in an ugly fashion. It happens. But overall, by the end of the season, you are what your record says you are. And right now they're a 6-1 team. So you can knock it all you want, but I didn't see you coming on this program and praising the hell out of a team that beat Cincinnati in Cincinnati. That's an upstart team. That's a team right now leading the AFC North. Did you come on here and say that? No. Don't pick and choose. That's lame. That's a lame ass. Don't pick and choose. Washington team, they pushed the Buccaneers last year in the playoffs. They had a backup quarterback. I agree with you 100%, Craig. This was a team it's a team that fights. It's a team that plays hard. It's a team that just hasn't learned how to win. I equate them to a little bit better version than the Detroit Lions. Detroit the same way. They took some teams to the brink this year. They just don't know how to win. You just got to figure it out. Just got to figure it out. 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. Again, 877-867-1670. Greg says, good win for the Pack today. Just move on. Try to sustain as few injuries as possible and get to the desert. This is the big one coming up. And then he says, what do you think about Kansas City? I think Kansas City is almost dead in the water. Kansas City's floating right now, man. And now today you get Patrick Mahomes goes down. Their defense is awful. They lost a lot of pieces. Okay, you don't make excuses. Look, it's what you're supposed to do in the NFL, which is why when it comes to being the Green Bay Packers and fan base, you got to feel pretty happy with the way things have gone because you've always been competitive for the most part. Most teams, you get a Super Bowl, you get to a Super Bowl, you appear in the postseason a couple of times, and all of a sudden, you're on the outside looking in. because of contract issues, of guys that don't live up to the numbers, guys that they pay instead of cutting, all that they give them a second contract or a third one when they don't deserve it. In the meantime, you go to the AFC and you look right now, and Kansas City sitting at 3-4 in the season. The Chargers and the Raiders are the top two teams at 4-2. The Chargers and the Raiders right now. The Raiders hosting Philadelphia. The Chargers off this week. They have the bye week. But I think the Chargers are a very good football team. 877-867-1670. Come on, hit us up. Want to hear from you. The Green and Gold Postgame Show, brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. It continues on. We're going to hear from Aaron Rodgers. We're going to hear from Mike Clemens. We're going to hear from Matt LaFleur. We're going to continue to get your phone calls, your thoughts. Break this game down today. There's a lot of things to talk about. Bring it. 877-867-1600. More of the Green and Gold Postgame Show next.
This is the Green and Gold Postgame Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You got to hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket. Hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket.
As we come back, Packers get a win. They knock off the Washington football team. They beat them at home and did it in solid fashion, 24-10, nothing crazy. Everybody thought that Aaron Rodgers, with that secondary of Washington might throw for 500 yards and 4 or 5 touchdowns, but a decent win, not a great win. In a quick turnaround week, you take it, you move on. 24-10, Packers go to 6-1 on the season. Aaron Rodgers talking about the win right now at the podium. Let's go.
We didn't run the ball very well. We didn't protect great first half. Good front, really good front. 4 first-rounders, but didn't protect necessarily that well. And we had some opportunities if we just hold up a little bit longer on some plays. I had to kind of deal it and get rid of it. So, but I feel like we're close. We got to keep finding ways to get the ball to our guys in space. But when our defense is playing like they did today, we're going to be tough to beat.
As the game wore on, did you feel like you were making, the right adjustments? I mean, you had the one drive where Allen gets the touchdown, 5 receptions on that drive. That's working.
Yeah, it's a different defense. They got a real good front. They play a bunch of different coverages in the back end. So we had to kind of be patient at times. Didn't run the ball well, but we did a pretty good job on third down. We still have some red zone issues. The efficiency is just not quite where it needs to be, but we're 6-1. So, like I said, on the field to Pam, this situation and still being correct a lot of things. So they're happy.
What does it do for the offense when you can get Bobby and Allen involved?
I think it can open up some other things. Teams are still trying to take away Devontae in a number of different ways, but a lot of double coverage. There was actually a few times where he was single, try to go to him in those situations, but that'll be the focus moving forward. I'm sure every single week it starts and ends with him, but the more we can get guys like Allen involved and Bobby involved, it's going to, slowly give Tay a few more one-on-ones probably.
Aaron, is it just coincidence when you just go to Allen time after time on a scoring drive, or just the matchup you saw in that series?
Mark, it was just coincidence. I think on that drive, I checked to a screen, and he was in the screen spot. I kind of extended a play, and he kind of third window basic had a play set up on that third down touchdown to him, not for him, but he's in the 2 spot, made an adjustment, and the matchup is his. So a lot of times it kind of works like that. It's not necessarily that I was calling plays for him in that situation, but that he had the matchup.
Did you or the offense in general do something a little bit different in the second half to shore up the protection?
Not necessarily. I just felt like, we had a couple backed up drives, which was tough, on the certain plays you can call heavier personnel, but not necessarily, I don't think. I felt like we almost chipped them more in the first half than we did in the second half. Second half, we maybe spread it out a little bit more and just tried to deal it a little quicker.
Over the first couple of weeks or last few weeks, your offense has got the monkey off the back of the red zone. Defense was able to finally do that today. People can stop talking about 15 for 15 now, just sitting on the sidelines getting to see that happen.
Yeah, 15 for 19 now. That's good. That's good. I'm happy for those guys. Our best defenses over the years, I think, have been opportunistic ones where, like Tom mentioned to me before I walked in here, we got outgained 430 to 304. But we had a bunch of turnovers forced and guys around the football, and that's kind of been maybe some of our better defenses where we kind of toughen up in the red zone, force some turnovers, and give us the ball back. So that was big, a lot of big plays for those guys. I thought the pass rush was really better in the second half, and they got after them. It helped with the turnovers starting the second half and went up 2 scores, kind of getting to play our way. But offensively, still left a lot out there.
35 throws seems like a little bit higher clip. You guys had some more balance maybe in the running game the past few weeks. Was there something with this defense, with this secondary that you wanted to exploit, and how did that go with that?
It's more the front. The front, they got a great front. And we just weren't running the ball well. They were with their 2 shell, they were kind of holding the line of scrimmage and weren't a lot of big gains to be had. So we had to find a way to throw it. I thought we dialed up some good stuff against some of the cover 2 stuff, and then made the most of the single high opportunities.
You're on the first touchdown.
Ooh, jinx.
Go ahead, stop. You'll ask your question.
Okay. On the first touchdown, did you think you were going to have to win the race to the marker, or how did that?
No, that's not a race that I would win. I think Pete would agree with that. But, I was watching some college football yesterday, and I was reminded how some quarterbacks, once they put their head on the run, can't get their eyes up maybe to see a guy's wide open. That's never been a problem, especially as I've aged. I'm always thinking about where I can deal that ball. And, it was a weird look pre-snap. I felt good about Devontae at 2 in the slot. Then at the snap, 99 dropped off, and I kind of, for whatever reason, got off him because I figured he was going to drop into the slant window there. He didn't. I moved to the right and still had Devontae, and then had the crisis of conscience where I felt like I maybe could actually run it. And after I took about 2 steps nearing full speed, I realized I wasn't going to be anywhere close. And I saw Devontae kind of slide back inside and threw a good ball, had a real awkward fall, but I'm glad that he scored because everybody's focused on that and not on me falling on the ground over there.
Aaron, how often do you throw to Devontae thinking it's a 50-50 ball? And when the one on the sideline where he had the lay hands left your hand, what do you think of his chances to catch that one?
There's no 50-50 balls with Devontae. It's always in his favor. Best answer I can give you.
What do you think of the stretch of games you got coming up here?
It's exciting. Real good football team on a short week on the road. It's going to be a great test for us. I feel good about where we're at, 6-1. Not many people would have expected this, maybe looking at our schedule starting the season. Definitely not after week 1. So I'm proud of our guys, the way we're playing, getting contributions from a lot of different guys who weren't necessarily on the roster maybe to start the season or were add-ons this year. You got to look at Devondre and the production he's had. It's just incredible, for a guy to not get a big deal, to not be a priority free agent, and to step in and start and be the play caller on defense and be so productive for us. It's fantastic. I thought Rasul did a nice job today and came back from getting banged up, and I thought he covered well. I thought Sully had maybe his best game he's had in a while. Just from sideline, I'm not sure what the film looks like, and then offensively, we've had a lot of injuries. Still hoping to get 69 back at some point in the near future, and 83. But I thought that we're close, which is exciting, and we're still winning football games.
Aaron, you always have keen observations on your defensive teammates. What do you think of what Rashawn has done with Easy out and Western back up?
Well, he cares about it so much. He really does. He just got a game ball in the locker room, and he's a good kid, man. He really, really loves football. He's a grinder. He's working at his craft, and he's relentless. I think as he continues to get experience, the pass rush moves will continue to improve. But a lot of his production is just that he doesn't give up on the play. And he's strong enough to bull rush. He's quick enough to get around the edge. And I think he's just improving at all times. I'm a big fan of the Merciless signing for a number of different reasons. But the way that Preston has played this year and his leadership, and obviously the way that Rashawn has played, and then bringing in a stud like Whitney, who's motivated and can still play at a high level. Really like that signing.
There you go. That's Aaron Rodgers at the podium. Packers get a win. We got another hour yet to go. We're going to hear from the head coach, Matt LaFleur. Mike Clemens going to join us live inside Lambeau. We're going to continue to get your reaction. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Some of the key moments of the ball game coming up, as well as the Packers have now reeled off 6 straight wins after week 1's ugly loss. And in many areas, they continue to get better. And how good this team can be, we'll have to wait and see. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Green and Gold Postgame Show presented by Bud Light coming up right after this.
Need to get away this winter? Then it's time to plan one at Pine Mountain Resort, the Upper Peninsula's premier ski resort. Pine Mountain Resort is the #1 rated ski resort in Michigan and Wisconsin. Stay in one of the newly renovated rooms at the lodge and take on the mountain, or just sit by the fire in the bar. The Pine Mountain Ski Jump is the tallest man-made ski jump in North America. Take advantage of their ski and stay packages from 1 to 4 nights, or get a season-long pass available now. Book online today at pinemountainresort.com. That's pinemountainresort.com.
Blue 58, go! Green 18, Green 19, touch!
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Packers get a win. Hour number 2 of the Green and Gold postgame show. 24-10. The Packers knock off Washington. They go to 6-1 on the season. Washington now sits at 2-5. Elsewhere around the NFL, you got the Rams right now trailing Jared Goff and company 13-10 with 8:36 left to go in the second quarter in that contest out in L.A. The Raiders have come back and tied it up against the Eagles. It's 7 apiece out in Vegas. Meanwhile, the Texans get a safety, 2-0. They lead the Cardinals right now. I don't think that score is going to stand, but 2-0. They lead the Cardinals right now out in Arizona with quarter 2 just now getting underway. Meanwhile, Justin Fields struggling right now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 14-0. The Bears trailing the Buccaneers on the afternoon. In the meantime, the big game out in the AFC is Cincinnati at 4-2 on the road against the Ravens sitting at 5-1. Cincinnati beat the hell out of them 41-17. Lamar Jackson pulled from the game, and the Bengals now go to 5-2. Also, the Ravens at 5-2, both sit atop the division, but the Bengals, they hold the tiebreaker. Meanwhile, the Giants, a big win over the over the Panthers, 25-3. You heard me right, 25-3. The Giants at home, they knock off the Panthers. The Panthers in a tailspin after starting the season off at 3-0. Christian McCaffrey goes down. They've been lost ever since. Meanwhile, the Patriots under Mac Jones. Mac Jones guides that team over the Jets 54-13. 54-13. Mac Jones today, 24-36, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not a pick to his name, sacked only one time, and a quarterback rating of 111.7. So big day today. And by the way, Harris ran for 14 carries, 106 yards on the afternoon as well, as the Jets, they fall in ugly fashion to Bill Belichick's crew. Meanwhile, the Dolphins, they lose by 2. The Falcons pull one out on the road. They go to 3-3, 30-28. They ended up beating the Dolphins, and Kansas City, they fell hard to Tennessee, 27-3. I had mentioned that game a little bit earlier, in which Derrick Henry, a big day in many facets, but the big news coming out of the game is Patrick Mahomes not only threw another pick, but also got knocked out of the game. Everybody thought, though, Derrick Henry would run for 150, 160 yards, 29 carries, 86 yards, 3 yards a carry. Nothing huge there. Did not dent the end zone. It was all Ryan Tannehill and company. Ryan Tannehill throws a TD, throws a pick, but in the meantime, they were able to just hang on to get the win. Tannehill, by the way, also ran for a touchdown. It was a 3-yard touchdown run, 2 carries, 6 yards on the day for Tannehill. 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, your reaction to today's contest, the Packers, they get the win. So really kind of the big turning point in this game, the Packers score a touchdown right to end the half. Then they get a quick takeaway on Washington's opening drive. That was when Rashawn Gary came off the edge, and Taylor Heineke backed to pass, and Rashawn Gary kind of strip sacked him, and that allowed the Packers to get the ball back. They go on to score the touchdown, back-to-back possessions. That makes it 21-7, and here it is. Here's the play that changed the tide.
Can't miss those chances. They settle for 6, and on 2nd and 4, Heineke's first throw is up for grabs, and it's intercepted. Dean Lowry. Boy, gift wrapped as Gary got home to Heineke.
There you go. Shannon Sullivan also made a leaping interception at Taylor Heineke in the end zone, with the Packers leading 24-7 with around 6 minutes to go in the game, and that marked a 3rd straight trip into the end zone, resulting in 0 points for Washington as they were denied yet again red zone wise. And then you got Robert Tonyan. It was nice to see not only Mercedes Lewis, but Robert Tonyan get back into the mix. We were just talking about this, that eventually you're going to start to involve the tight ends again in the offense. This was Robert Tonyan coming up big.
3. Green Bay trying to take advantage of the takeaway. Into the end zone, tight end, touchdown, Tonyan. Happy Tight Ends Day.
There you go. Happy Tight Ends Day. Didn't know there was such a thing called Tight Ends Day, but apparently there is. So good stuff for Tonyan, who dents the end zone. The Packers have 6 straight wins since starting off 0-1, and they've got 4 wins now by 10 points or more. So for as much as the defense is being maligned and the offense is still not firing on all cylinders and the special teams continue to be a question mark, think of that. They have won 6 straight times since falling that in ugly fashion early on. And 4 of those 6 wins are by 10 points or more. And Matt LaFleur's team is winning games despite not playing their best football. And I had mentioned it. Offense not completely smooth yet. Defense, and then obviously special teams not great. Aaron Rodgers said it best following the win. It hasn't been pretty. But that's the exciting thing. He said we haven't played our best ball. Yep, and we're 6-1. Great teams can win games when everything is not perfect. The Packers aren't in championship form yet, but at 6-1, it's a great place to be after just 7 games this year. Rashawn Gary had a couple of sacks, 4 quarterback hits, and a forced fumble today. By far, the runaway MVP of the game today. Rodgers like 77 threw 3 touchdowns, could have had more, but and Robert Tonyan getting into the mix. Devondre Campbell, 13 tackles, as I mentioned earlier, several stops in the passing game, also forced a pair of fumbles. That guy has been one of the best offseason signings in a long, maybe since Charles Woodson. And then the only bright spot when you really want to get into the special team side of things, Bojorquez, a fair catch on a 49-yard punt and then hit that 53-yard bomb from deep in his own territory, in his own end zone under heavy pressure coming off the right side, all before producing a perfect punt that hit, depending on what view you have, either the end zone line or the 1-inch line, and then was downed inside the 5-yard line in the fourth quarter. So a lot of good things in many different facets, but a lot to clean up in a team that has certainly not hit their stride as of yet. 877-867-1670. Let's do this. He's coming to the podium now. Matt LaFleur talking to the media. Let's hear it.
I told him we'll enjoy it, but you can't enjoy it too long because it's really like Wednesday in our world now. So you gotta turn the page pretty quickly. But I thought the story of this game was, I thought our special teams did a lot of great things. That was the best kickoff coverage that we've had yet. I thought that Slayton did a heck of a job getting the block on the field goal. That was a big play of the game. Bojo continues to show out and come through when we need him. That punt when we were backed up was big time. But defensively, I can't say enough about the guys. I thought our pass rush, specifically in the second half, really got going. It was great to see guys like Rashawn Gary get 2 sacks, he was an impact player on this game. We see it every day, just the energy, the effort, what he brings to this football team, how much he cares. And it's awesome to see a guy like that get rewarded and go out there and make some key plays. Can't say enough about Devondre Campbell as well. What an addition he's been, just making impact plays all over the place. And I thought our defense really, I know there's been a lot of discussion about the red zone defense, but when you hold a team to 0 for 4 in the red zone, that's a pretty big deal. And I think that was a big difference in the game. Anytime you win the ball, we always talk about that. We got the 2 takeaways defensively. And I think, from an offensive standpoint, you got to give credit to Washington. They've got a great front. Thought we struggled early on blocking them, but as the game progressed, we did a little bit better with that. Certainly like to finish it in 4-minute mode, converting those first downs, but wasn't able to do that. So there's still a lot for us to improve upon moving forward, but it sure does feel good to be 6-1.
Matt, I know you didn't mention him by name in your opener, but when you guys made a drive at the end of the second quarter, Alan Lazard was 5 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown. What was it about that drive that opened things up for him specifically?
Yeah, no, it's great because Alan does so much of the dirty work for us. You know, I know you guys know I like to call him the Goon, but he's got about 5 other nicknames. But it's awesome. He does so much. It's great to see him get rewarded for really consistent and really great play. It started with that little out route on the right side. And then he finished that drive with a touchdown on the back shoulder seam that Aaron made an unbelievable throw on. And it was great to spread the ball around a little bit more this game.
You mentioned Alan Lazard, but Bobby Tonyan also hasn't really had the role that he had last year. He's kind of had to change his game a little bit. What was it like to see him get more involved?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's had to change his game. It's just I've talked about it, I think, previously. We've played some pretty darn good pass rushes, and unfortunately, we've had to use him in a chip position quite a bit. But he made obviously the touchdown. That was a great route. He beat his man. Great ball, great protection. I think what's funny about that play, Tay was on the other side, and he ran a double move, and he was wide open as well. I was like, man, I wish we wouldn't have wasted the double move on a play that we scored on, but I'm glad we scored. So, but Bobby, he shows up with a great attitude every day. It was awesome on was it National Tight End Day to see our tight ends play a big part of this thing. And it's not just him, but anytime we get the big dog the ball as well, Mercedes, usually that's a pretty good day for our offense.
Matt, Aaron says he thinks this offense is close. Just ask you, how close do you think this is, and what needs to happen to kind of get you guys to that next level?
Yeah, it seems like we're one off quite a bit. So until we get all 11 playing together and doing their responsibilities on each and every play, you're going to be close. So it's always encouraging when you come away with wins and there's more to work on. So I think a lot of it we've had a lot of, different combinations up front. I don't think that's necessarily helped us in terms of just that continuity that you look for. It all starts up front with just making sure we're IDing the right people in the run game and in the pass game. And certainly there were some opportunities, I think, early on for some plays to be made where we cut a guy loose or we weren't targeted right. So that's something we're going to have to take a good hard look at and make sure that we get corrected.
You guys 95 yards rushing. I realize some of it was at the yardage at the end, but considering the quarterback is playing next week, what do you got to do to just make sure that doesn't?
Yeah, it's going to have to be a major point of emphasis because we knew that going into this thing, what he was able to do with his legs, and for him to still be able to do that, that was a little bit disappointing. I think early on, especially in the first half of that game, it didn't seem like our rush really wasn't hitting home. I thought our rush picked up in the second half and we were able to get home, but it's all about the coordination with your pass rush in terms of not allowing big rush lanes so that when you have a quarterback that can step up and then he takes off and there's nobody there, that is definitely a concern and something that we're going to have to get corrected.
Matt, Aaron told us that he woke up with his back up. What was your perspective on, did he let you know? And did you at any point think he might have been starting short of the day, or how big of a concern was it?
First I heard of it right there. So, I don't know.
Aaron also said there's this antiquated thing in this league where on the most important night, late in the week,
Well, Coach Rodgers and I will have a discussion after this, I'm sure.
Have you ever considered letting him sleep in his own bed? I gotta ask if he said it. Have you ever considered letting him sleep in his own bed the night before game?
Yeah, we'll talk about that in-house.
Matt, what can it mean? You talked a lot about the progress the defense has made all season long. What can it mean now so that they've got a couple of goal line stops, and what is that for them to build
No, I think it was, they were obviously very important key stops, especially when, the one shoot, they called it a touchdown, right? And then they overturned Heineke's scramble and they go for it on 4th down. And that was a tough call either way. I did think that he had fumbled the ball. It looked like he was down when he recovered it. And so actually I thought they were going to potentially back it up, but it was a tough call.
There you go. That was Matt LaFleur at the podium just a little while ago. Well, as time was going on, he was there. But, interesting that he said, hey, Coach Rodgers and I, we'll talk about this whole discussion of, Aaron would like to stay at home. He'd like to sleep in his own bed and not have to worry about, going to the team hotel and such. And interesting. Interesting that Matt LaFleur had that to say. But hey, stick around. We want to get your reaction. Packers get a win. They have moved to 6-1, 6 unanswered wins straight for this team in these contests. And now they've got really the biggest one, and I think the biggest one of the overall season coming up, and that is the contest coming up on a short turnaround Thursday night, going out to the desert in Arizona. Stay tuned. We got more of the Green and Gold postgame show brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. We got more right after this.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Packers get a win. They knock off the Washington football team in fine fashion, 24-10. Not a huge win, not some, stymieing, impressive, benchmark win of the season, but a good win. You get what did you get? What did you take away from this game? 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. For those watching on the Bud Light live stream, you can follow us over there as well. 877-867-1670. Phone number right there on the screen. 877-867-1670. What'd you take away from this win? What did you take away from this win? Craig said, do you think Rodgers should sell his ownership of the Bears? They're losing 21-0 right now. No, his ownership reigns supreme whenever he plays them. After that, we know that they go back to the trailer park. And that's really demeaning to people that live in a trailer park. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, okay? 877-867-1670. If you're living in a trailer park, you got your nice trailer, you got your porch, you got your deck, you got everything set up. You're living life. You're living your life. You're enjoying yourself. You got a good life. And then here come the Bears and they pull in next to you. Property value goes down right away. Bam. Sorry about your luck. So, and it looks like today, like Tom Brady might be owning a little bit as Justin Fields fumbles yet again. So there you go. 877-867-1670. 867-1670. You want to hit us up? Dial the phone number right now. Your comments. What did you see good about? What did you think in any way, shape, or form today's game? What stood out to you today? Good, bad, ugly. Bring it. What stood out? Mike says in the email inbox, he says, aw, shucks, it's a game in which they got to win. It wasn't impressive. Special teams still don't impress much at all. The blocking on the offensive line is not good. They're allowing too much pressure on Aaron Rodgers. The defensive front at times will get pressure, but it's not consistent throughout the game. But the people that keep screaming for Joe Barry's head confuse me. They wanted Dom Capers fired. They wanted Mike Pettin fired. They wanted Joe Barry fired. Joe Barry is getting it done without 4 or 5 of his starters, and they're getting better every week. What more do people want? People want to see tenacity. People want to see continual sacks. People want to see 3 and outs consistently. They don't want you picking up first downs. They don't want you moving the ball up and down the field. They don't want you to be able to complete passes on 4th and 8, 4th and 10, 4th and 16. They don't want that. They want to see guys like Jason Pierre-Paul and Ndamukong Suh and linebackers or outside linebackers like TJ Watt, down linemen like JJ Watt. They want to see that whole all-star group all come into Lambeau Field and dominate in every fashion. And it's just it's not possible week in and week out. You just don't get that. But I do. And, Michael says Chandler Jones. Yes. By the way, Chandler Jones right now on the COVID list. So we'll see if Chandler Jones is able to make it back in time for the Packers game. Because Zach Allen's the other one. Zach Allen, Corey Peters, and Chandler Jones, I believe, are all on the COVID list right now for the Arizona Cardinals coming into today's game. So if, let's just say by chance, they don't make it back and they don't have 2 positive or 2 negative tests in a row prior to the game on Thursday night, then they will not be playing against the Green Bay Packers. I like Mike says over on the Bud Light live stream, he says the Packers heating up. Mine and Ben's Eagles stink. Go back, go from here on out. Love the show. There you go. That's I like Mike, or like Mike, I should say, 8569. Ben, so how was your weekend overall when it comes to sports? Because the Eagles had an early lead, and after that, it has kind of faltered away.
Oh, it was damn good. Wisconsin yesterday, Graham Mertz throws the ball 8 times, and they just run down Purdue's throat. Mm-hmm. So that was beautiful to see.
What? How bad did Iowa have to play to lose that game to Purdue?
It was a weird matchup, but Iowa and Wisconsin, to me, are like the exact same team. and Iowa just finally had the turnovers go the other way, and they can't really throw the ball. So
it was just,
I don't know. I'm more impressed with Wisconsin than I was disappointed with how Iowa could lose to Purdue.
Yeah, I was completely impressed. It was a good win for the Badgers. It was just a good win. The defense played extremely well. Their offense was able to run the ball. Like you said, Graham Mertz only threw it 8 times, but at least the offense and the offensive line opened up holes too. And that was the other thing that we had not seen consistently. So it was a good win for the Badgers. It wasn't this polished, great, I belong in the top 25 again win, but it was a win in which you could say, okay, got a couple now. Let's continue to build off of that and see how the rest of the season goes, because you still hold your own fate in your hands when it comes to the West. And that's all you can ask for if you're the Badgers. So good win by the Badgers. It made me eat my words, because I thought for sure, what do we pick them, like 24-13 or something like that, or 20-13 to get the win over Purdue? I thought it was going to, lose to Purdue, I should say.
I never doubted the football team. I've never picked against Wisconsin in my life.
Really? Okay. Well, there's probably going to be a couple more games.
I picked Purdue to win by double digits.
I thought Purdue was going to win that game too, and I was wrong. Pleasantly wrong.
But no, Paul Chris had some fun. They had no tight ends really healthy, so he switched offensive line, gave them tight end numbers, and then lined them up on the end of the line and just ran and ran and ran.
It was a good win. I enjoyed it. It was more than a pleasant surprise, we'll say, without a doubt. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. The good and the bad coming out of today. The good and the bad coming out of today. Want to hear from you. 877-867-1670. Again, 877-867-1670. Louis, I haven't heard from you in a while, buddy, down in Illinois. So good to hear from you. Louis writes, good win by the Packers. They continue to stack success, and Joe Barry is getting far too much criticism. He's just trying to piecemeal a defense together until they can get some of these injured players back. It all hinges on Jair. If you continue with like a guy like Devondre Campbell, and Merciless starts to give you some pass rush, he helps out Rashawn Gary. Preston Smith comes back and plays healthy. Now the sad news of the day was obviously the other day, Josh Myers going on the IR, so they had to replace him. So you're still losing more and more offensive linemen. You got to get Elton Jenkins healthy. You got to get David Bakhtiari back, and then things are really going to start to fall into place. But when you get Jair back and you get Preston back with the additions you've made, and Rashawn Gary really starting to feel it, and hopefully Kenny Clark's ankle injury doesn't flare up or get really, really bad tomorrow, because they put him out, put him on the sidelines, taped it up. He came back in, not the next series, but the series after that looked okay, but just looked a little hobbled. He gets healthy. I think with a healthy team and a really good Aaron Rodgers offense, I think you got a really legitimate shot. Now, I'm not going to go overboard and say they're going to win the NFC, but they're going to be top 2 or 3 teams in the NFC before it's all said and done if they continue to play this way and continue to get healthy as time goes on. So I agree with you. Let's see here. He also says, oh, by the way, how about Brett Bielema in Illinois in a 9-overtime game? Can you believe that Penn State fell to Illinois? Shake my head on that one. Penn State will do enough to make you believe Penn State belongs back in the conversation for the Big Ten East, and they will crap the bed. And when they do it, they'll wake up and then they'll roll around in it the next week. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with Penn State, but they do. They put a statistic up over the last, I think, 3 years when they've had a loss. They followed a loss up with yet another loss. They just, Franklin just can't get out of his own way once they face that adversity. It takes them a while to kind of get over it for whatever reason. Now, schedule has something to do with it, but whatever.
Did you watch that game?
I watched the end of it.
Oh, how do you feel about the overtime rules?
I love it. I think after 4 attempts, you got to go for 2. I like it because it forces teams and defensively to be better. Some people say, well, it doesn't favor the defense. Well, why not? Get a stop. It's kind of like the old offense, everybody should possess the ball in the NFL. While to a certain extent, I understand it and I agree with it. The old adage was, look, if you can't stop somebody, you don't deserve to win. It's just that simple. If their offense is better than your defense is a part of the game too. We just talk about the offense and the points you can put on the board. Defense is part of the game. You got to stop them from putting points on the board. So I don't mind it at all. I think it's contrived, but you're not going to get them to do anything else. So you might as well just sit back, relax, and enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was wondering because they just alternate 2-point conversions. I was wondering how long that has to happen before they just give it to the kickers and say, play horse with the football.
Right. No, I agree with that because I would just keep moving the kickers back. Make your special teams win it. Start them out with a 20-yard chip shot, then go back to 25, then 30, 35, 40, and keep going back till somebody misses. And once somebody misses, that's game.
I saw an idea that the closest a punter can get the ball to stop next to the goal line, that team wins.
Boy, then you're putting it on. Then do you have to consider kickers and punters real football players if they have that ability to win the game? After the Gladiators come off the field, all you have left is a pooch punter. And if you're lucky, it's an Australian rules pooch punter that can drop it inside the 5. After all of that, you're going to turn it over to the punter? I don't think that's ever going to happen. Or the kicker, for that matter. I don't think it's ever going to happen. 877-867-1670. There was another good thing to take away from today's game, and that's a hint right there. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You got to hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket. Hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket.
Packers get a win. They are 6-1. Now they got a quick turnaround. It was 3 Aaron Rodgers touchdown passes, and not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. Well, 4 total, but the Packers get themselves some stops in the red zone. 4 of them, as a matter of fact. One of those were self-inflicted by Washington, more so Taylor Heineke. But for the most part, Packers get a win. Packers go to 6-1. Packers now have won 6 straight games. Washington goes down to 2-5 after losing their 4th game in 5 weeks. And the fact that Aaron Rodgers, solid performance. Packers get a takeaway, turn the game on that Lowry interception, which was caused by Rashawn Gary getting pressure on the quarterback and the ball floating into the air after it was knocked out of Heineke's hand. Packers go down and score, then turn around again and score. That pretty much changed the tide of the ball game. And then you get Shannon Sullivan makes that leaping interception of Taylor Heineke in the end zone after the Packers were leading at that point 24-7 with around 6 minutes to go in the game. So the Packers got after the football today. This team is plus in the turnover column and continues to be during, well, they were +7. I think they're +8 now because the Packers turned the ball over once. Washington turned the ball over twice. So the Packers now +8 during this run in which they are 6-0. And now they have a quick week to get it all together. As Matt LaFleur said at the podium just a little while ago, he said, this is like our Wednesday. Today is like Wednesday. We go home. We nurse our injuries. We try to feel better. And now you start getting back at it. It's going to be a light week of practice. It's going to be a light no hitting. It's going to be a lot of walkthrough, some film study, and trying to put themselves a game plan in place. And then it's off to Arizona. You leave for Arizona on Wednesday afternoon after your meetings. You fly out there. You get settled, team dinner. You wake up the next morning. You go through another walkthrough, have a few meetings, and then get back to your room, rest up a little bit, and then get to the ballpark. It's that simple. Hopefully the Packers can get themselves a win. Hey, you know what? And I said this before, and we'll talk more about it during the week on my show, but even if the Packers lose this game, and I hope they don't, but let's say they lose 24-20, 24-21, 23-21, something like that. That to me is kind of that moral victory because 67% of the teams that travel on Thursday night lose. So you got the chip stacked against you. You're banged up. You're trying to bring guys back, but if you don't have Jair and Kevin King and Shannon Sullivan and Stokes and Rasul Douglas and all these guys playing at a top level, if you don't have back Darnell Savage Jr. ready to go, no ill effects left over from the concussion. Adrian Amos playing at a high level. Everybody's indoctrinated. Jalen Smith is ready to go. Merciless is ready to go. Preston Smith is back. Your entire defensive front. Even then, you still may struggle against what is considered a really, really, really good offense with a lot of weapons. When you think about DeAndre Hopkins being one of the best wide receivers in the league, a guy in A.J. Green who has found rejuvenated youth and the ability to stave off injury out in the desert. Christian Kirk, a solid wide receiver. They picked up Zach Ertz just a week or two ago. They've got a decent run game. Kyler Murray is a good quarterback, good arm, can move, can scramble, and a defense that can flat out get after the quarterback. If you stay close in this one on the road on a Thursday night, not a bad way to go. but I hope the Packers can win. I think the Packers could win. They get a few turnovers, they're going to win. You force Kyler Murray into a couple of bad decisions, and you can win this ball game. But it is going to take everything being perfect. And when I say perfect, special teams included. We've been talking about this for a while now, that this special teams unit, they've come so close to getting a punt blocked. They've been coming so close to getting a kick blocked, and damned if they didn't go ahead and do that this week. Coming off the edge, a lot of pressure, up the gut, a lot of pressure. It just a special teams blow up waiting to happen. We're waiting for it. 877-867-1670. By the way, Tom Brady earlier today established the 600 touchdown club. No one has ever reached that height. Tom Brady has reached it, throwing for his 600 TD pass in his career. 600. You may not like Brady, but he's just that damn good. And he just threw another one. He just threw another one to Mike Evans. And it was defensive pass interference, and Evans still caught the football. Tom Brady with just a no-look lob pass to Mike Evans in the back corner of the end zone, and they are now up 27-3 over the lowly Chicago Bears. And a perfect back shoulder pass with just awful coverage. Just amazing. Amazing what they're doing down there in Tampa Bay. 877-867-1670. You want to find us, do it. Jonathan says defense hunted the ball big time today. Big takeaways. And I agree. This is from Max. Max said the Packers are starting to heat up. Even though the injuries have mounted, they've still been able to find ways to win. Don't you say all the time that good teams will figure out how to win? I do. Not only do I say that just about the Packers, but championship teams win when they're facing a ton of adversity. And the Packers have been able to do that. They've just been able to pull it out. Now, that doesn't mean against a really good team. It's just because they figured out ways to win, they're going to do it. I think the Packers need to get punched in the mouth again. And they're about to get punched in the mouth by the Arizona Cardinals. It's how you respond in a game like that where you're trailing and how you come back. That's going to be what determines how good you are, because we've seen this team play with a lead, or at the very worst, only a one-score deficit. But let's say Arizona's just that good and they get up a couple of scores on this team. We've seen the Packers, when they are down double scores or more, begin to panic and play really bad football. That's what I'm waiting to see. Has this team corrected that problem? Has this team corrected that problem? 877-867-1670. When we come back, our own Mike Clemens, he is live up in Green Bay. We're going to get his thoughts from inside the locker room. He's had a chance to listen to Matt LaFleur, listen to Rashawn Gary, listen to Aaron Rodgers, listen to those at the podium, get reaction from other players up there inside Lambeau Field. We'll talk to Mike when we come back, so hang in there for that. That'll be the final segment of the Green and Gold postgame show. Packers get a win. They have now reeled off 6 straight wins to push their record to 6-1 on the season, but now they've got a tough one coming up out in the desert. Today, give game balls to Rashawn Gary. Aaron Rodgers really solid today, completing over 77% of his passes. We saw Robert Tonyan in the mix. Devondre Campbell defensively having a big day as well. And you can't forget about the 2 big, huge, booming punch by Bojorquez, who has been nothing short of fantastic since coming over. Stay tuned. Final segment of the Green and Gold postgame show, presented by our friends at Bud Light. Coming up next.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Packers knock off Washington. 6-1, 6 straight wins. And now they have to head off to the desert. See what happens. But soaking in this win, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything that goes along with it. This one is from Keith. Keith says, Rashawn Gary's starting to live up to expectations. He's not coming up with huge sack totals, but what do you think about his play as a down lineman versus a passer? Look, they've moved, and I appreciate the email as always. They've moved him in and out. And you know, Rashawn Gary, he is not, this is not the second coming of Reggie White. He is not going to put up these record-setting sack numbers. But all he does is dictate first and foremost, he cuts off cutback lanes. He can set an edge. He's not an outside linebacker by any stretch of the imagination that's coming in strictly to set the edge, but he gets pressure. And he's a pretty good tackler. And I like the fact that he's look, he's not going to be, he's not in the position he was drafted. Okay. He's not that guy. He never was going to be that guy. But for what they're using him for, he's being used perfectly by Joe Barry. So I like what's going on with Rashawn Gary. He's been playing nothing but better football. So I like what he's got going on. So I think he's a solid player. And he just continues to get better, and that's the best part about it. And the more good people you put in the front seven that require attention when it comes to blocking schemes, the better off he's going to be. It's just that simple. Joining us now live at Lambeau Field after witnessing the Packers get that win over Washington, our good buddy Mike Clemens joining us. So, Michael, look, it's not the prettiest win, but it's a solid win, and the Packers defense gains a little confidence in this thing.
And they didn't fall into a trap game against a desperate 2-4 Washington football team. And they had to make some tough decisions like Preston Smith. Could he play this game? Should they save him for the Cardinals? Matt LaFleur insists, look, I'm not worried about week 8 or 9 or 10. I'm worried about this Sunday, and I want him. Is it the smart thing to do to put Preston on the field? He says, I'll admit, I'd be lying if I didn't say that factored in. But he talked about getting the win today against Washington.
Hey, don't worry about what we have in front of us. You got to take care of it one day at a time. And this league is just too competitive. I mean, a handful of plays go differently out there, and you get a lot different game.
So when it comes to, I saw Kenny Clark went down today, Mike, and I wanted to make a mention of it because I didn't bring it up in the good, the bad, the ugly, but I thought TJ Slayton played pretty well.
Yeah, and one of the things that I saw was this. By halftime, the Packers had a blocked field goal. Washington had a blocked field goal and 3 sacks on Aaron Rodgers. Kind of a weird game that way. It looks like it was TJ Slayton that blocked Chris Blewett's. Can you believe that's a guy's last
Blewett
name? Blocked his field goal kick. And you know what? When they were talking about this just in the press conferences a couple of minutes ago, I flashed back. Do you remember a story I told you that this big rookie that they got, TJ Slayton on the defensive line, some of the vets were saying in the defensive lineman room during camp, one day they're just kind of hanging out, and they've got like a bucket that's like regulation 10 feet or whatever. This TJ Slayton kid weighs over 300 pounds, and he was like flat-footed in some flip-flops or sandals, and he could dunk from that.
Yeah.
And so today you find out that they've put him in on that field goal defense team because he can get his hand up in the air. So LaFleur praised special teams today on their efforts.
I thought our special teams did a lot of great things. That was the best kickoff coverage that we've had yet. I thought that Slayton did a heck of a job getting the block on the field goal. That was a big play of the game. Bojo can show out and come through when we need him. That's when we were back. But defensively, I can't say enough about the guys. I thought our pass rush, specifically in the second half, really got going. It was great to see guys like Rashawn Gary get 2 sacks, he was an impact player on this game. We see it every day, just the energy, the effort, what he brings to this football team, how much he cares. And it's awesome to see a guy like that get rewarded and go out there and make some key plays.
Rashawn Gary with.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mike, Rashawn Gary with sacks, hits, forced fumble, pressures. I mean, he had a solid game today to get mentioned.
2 sacks, pressures, 7 combined tackles, and he's out there now on his own. He's in his 3rd year, but the Smith brothers aren't out there. So he's the leader. Whitney Merciless with that pressure at the end of the game. I thought that was impressive. Rashawn Gary got the game ball and was asked about, hey, look, you're at 6-1.
Satisfying is not satisfying. I just finished week 7, still got a whole season, still got a lot to improve and get better in my game to help myself and help this defense, get to where we got to be. So, my head down is working. I'm not thinking about no success, what's happening. I'm taking it week by week, day by day, just trying to become the best player I can.
So how concerned should we be, Mike, though? Aaron Rodgers made kind of a giggly comment about sleeping in his own bed, but had apparently old dude back issues, man.
I can't remember exactly when he said it. I flashed back to something, maybe it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I don't know if he was trying to get out of a preseason game or in fact, he woke. Remember that was I think it was 2 years ago. He said, yeah, we decided not to put me in the preseason game because my back locked up on Tuesday. Couldn't shake it off on Wednesday. And then, something, I remember texting something to you and some of our other guys that, I did see Rodgers in the locker room with those suction cup marks on his back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's legitimate. His back locks up. So and people don't know that even when the Packers home on a Saturday night, they have to report to a team hotel. So there's no, goofing off and drinking the night before. They got a bed check at 11 o'clock. So they're staying at a Green Bay hotel. And Rodgers talked about waking up this morning.
I woke up this morning and my back was killing me. It was all locked up and I came in here early. I'm thankful for those guys taking care of me in order to go out and play today. Maybe you guys know this or don't know this, but there's an antiquated procedural thing in our league where the most important night of sleep, we stay at a hotel. And I don't want to blame it on the hotel. It's a nice hotel. But my bed at the house that I'm sleeping every other night of my time here in Green Bay would probably be a little bit of a better option, I think. And that's just my opinion.
So he is an antiquated notion that teams in the NFL all go to a hotel the night before so they don't have to have, and that's really because that's a good way to bed check, because they don't want guys out running around. That makes sure everybody's together, the team eats together, they're staying together. It's a bonding thing, getting ready for the game the next day. That's what they're doing. But he is right. I mean, if you have a bed that you're used to, that your back feels good as opposed to a hotel bed, he's got a point there.
Yeah, and seriously, I mean, you don't have to worry about Aaron Rodgers or Devontae Adams at this point about sneaking out and drinking until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
No.
The Washington team came in and they racked up 430 yards today in total offense. And that Taylor Heineke, I mean, he's dynamic, but both him and Collins on their defense, players with promise, but they just can't close the deal. 0 for 4 for the Washington offense in red zone. And Heineke talked about that just a couple of minutes ago over on the visitors' side.
I'll be able to speak more to it when we are able to sit down and watch the film, but we need to find ways to finish drives as an offense. We're putting we're leaving a lot of points out there on the field, and it's something that we're all frustrated with, and we all want to change, and we need to figure it out.
Well, if starts with the quarterback actually getting into the end zone.
Oh, you mean running with the football
Yes.
into the end zone?
Why he decided to go
too.
down, I have no idea, because he could have made it in and crossed the goal line and been just kept jogging, and he'd have been fine. Why he decided to go down just before the goal line, I have no idea.
Because, these coaches are telling these guys. I mean, you even had Aaron Rodgers telling, Joe Burrows a couple of weeks ago in Cincinnati, slide, man, slide. And this is coming from Rodgers. He used to run all the time until he had a couple of concussions. So the visitors go home now 2-5. The Packers are 6-1. Dean Lowry came off the field twice today, but did return to the game. Looked like some sort of maybe a foot injury or something. And then Rasul Douglas, who's been stepping up, he had a shoulder injury, did return to the game. But some guys getting banged up today. Short week. They fly to Arizona on Wednesday to play Thursday night against the Cardinals.
And we saw also, no, his name escapes me. Holy crap! It's on the tip of my tongue. We saw our
Kenny
nose
Clark.
Kenny Clark. Thank you very much. Yes, Kenny Clark got banged up today too.
Yeah, at the very end there, too. So don't know much about that. Going to see if I can track that down before these guys leave. But have more for you tomorrow at 1:20 and the latest here from Green Bay, buddy.
Great stuff, buddy. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks, Bill.
There you go. Mike Clemens. He's the best. He's our guy inside Lambeau Field, inside that locker room, joining us on the hotline. So the Packers now a short week. As Matt LaFleur said during the postgame presser, he said, today it's Wednesday. We don't have much time. Tomorrow you come in, you study a little bit of the game film, you start to put in the preparation for Arizona, start to put in your game plan, you get ready. Maybe if you're lucky enough, you get home in time to catch a little bit of the Arizona Cardinal game, which is going on as we speak. Just kind of recapping some of the things going on throughout the rest of the NFL. The Cardinals, it is now 17-5 over the Texans. As the Cardinals lead at the half. The Buccaneers about ready to score again, 28-3 over the Bears. The Raiders 24-7 over the Eagles, 17-16. The Rams over the Lions. The Rams have come back with 14 points in the second quarter to take the lead in that contest. But the big news of the day, 41-17, the Bengals just drill the Ravens. The Giants get a big win, 25-3 over the Panthers. And the Patriots beat the crap out of the Jets, 54-13. But here in our own backyard, one more time. Before a crowd, by the way, at Lambeau Field of 78,219. It was the Green Bay Packers at 6-0, 24, and the Washington football team 10. We'll talk about this all week long leading up to the contest on Thursday night out in the desert. Until then, time for us to go.